This review is sponsored by Skillshare. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Enjoy the video. That's right everyone, Dragon Ball Super the Manga Chapter 66 is here, and I can assure you all that there are no last minute MacGuffins in this chapter. This is truly the end of the fight. But how do we get there? And that remains up in the air. Chapter 66, Planet Eater Moro. Well, okay, it's not exactly the most imaginative title out there going, but I guess it's to accompany potential boss music, and for Moro, those lyrics quite frankly would be in Latin right now, so he better be spooked. Before we start the review, I would like to thank Skillshare for them sponsoring this video. And if you haven't heard of Skillshare, then I shall enlighten you, since that's what they do best. Skillshare is a platform where you can discover new skills or enhance the talents and knowledge you already possess. There is a wide range of topics to choose from, especially in the creative space, which includes building up Premiere Pro skills or looking into cinematography for better camera work, but the subject that I am choosing to focus on right now is in creative writing, with Yi-Yun Lee's workshop on character-driven stories. The segments in this and all the other workshops are in bite-sized chunks, so it's not a mountain to climb in terms of time to commit, which is super handy. If you want to give this a try, then check out the description and try yourself. The first 1,000 people to do so, using the link in my description, will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Thank you so much for listening and happy learning. Let's continue with the review. Where we last left off, we have basically been thrown for a total and utter loop when it comes to what we had expected, and it mostly angered the entire community with the notion of Goku giving yet another villain a senzu bean. I remember ranting and raving in that video a long time, as I think you all did too. But that did lead to something completely different and visually spectacular in that we had Planet Eater Moro, ironically, becoming a planet himself. And despite Miras's power being inside the Ram Man, it was still enough to corrupt the physical body, which is something I did sort of moot back in the day, that ultimately we would have a Moro having too much power inside of him and having to deal with it. So I'm happy that I sort of got that right. But in any case, Goku realized again that him forgiving and giving the Ram Man a second chance might not have been the best idea, but he hadn't really vocalized it yet. He was happy to have to deal with it in the there and now. And it's even gotten the likes of Whis angered, to which I am actually pleased to see that, for starters, the angel has emotions, and they're actually starting to get tired of Goku's troublish antics. And what's even cooler is that we are having to deal with potentially, or effectively, a reality bomb. Now, if you're a Doctor Who fan, I imagine that the guy who played Davos had a lot of fun going, "Detonate the reality bomb!" Well, okay, if it's not a reality bomb, it's going to blow up at least a whole galaxy in one go. No pressure there, Goku. We start the chapter off with not only reeling from the issues regarding Moro becoming a planet and Goku's dumb-headed move, but also the idea that everybody is starting to feel a little weaker, or in pain, with Gohan once again being Mr. Exposition. However, Vegeta is quick to realise, and they all jump off of the ground, so that means Moro could not gain any more of their energy. Because remember, he is now not only just a planet eater, he's actually a planet eater, if you know what I mean. A planet who eats. However, all of the average citizens, once again, they've been through a lot in Dragon Ball, have no idea what's going on, and they start to feel the effects themselves of all of this. And then Goku's all like, "Hey! Quit it! No! Quit it! No! Quit it! No!" With the cheesiest grin that any villain has ever given Goku, Moro is carrying on with his barrage of punches, which then starts to increase in force, and multiplies. He has a third arm. It thrusts up from the ground in, stop it, me. I mean, come on, no wonder he's so pleased where it is. I said, stop it, me! Moro says they have nowhere left to run, despite them being in the sky. They don't have anywhere to run, but they have somewhere to fly. They're not affected by his energy, and this is where Beerus decides to, actually, you know, roll up his sleeves, and despite him getting in trouble with the rest of his colleagues, he's going to step in, after always threatening to do so in previous arcs. But then Whis gets a call, which immediately nullifies all of that, the cat's initiative. The GP is calling, and he's found out about the whole thing with Miras. So, you know, that whole plan that Whis and Miras had, yeah, they've been rumbled. there is no chance for our angelic friends to come in and step in and save the day. In a way, fortunately. So it seems our dragon team's on their own. And I also love how Whis just casually hovers over to Goku and talks to him like it was nothing, like a regular conversation. It's a great leveler amongst all of the chaos that's been going down lately. Here, he basically tells Goku point blank what to do. Destroy the crystal. That's it. Can you do that, Goku? No more bean-related antics, I hope? You're good at hitting things right, so do more of that. Right there. All the while, Whis is holding back Moro's punches with a finger. Again, it's a good level of power. With the promise of getting Beerus Earth food regardless of the condition of said planet, Whis and Beerus are then gone, and Moro surges upwards once more, ready to crush everybody. Moro's rocky form is just getting bigger and bigger, and the whole thing about the crystal actually seemed to twig, and it's slowly being hidden from view by Moro's rocky formation. That is until Vegeta shows up and does what we've been waiting for him to do for months, ever since we found out about his new power. Hit Moro really hard. Wait, is this the same Jeets? He's pulling a Goku. Huh. Thanks to this action, the crystal returns to view, and Vegeta shouts at Goku, and I think he's speaking for us all, to get the job done, in no uncertain terms. Even Super Goku, for how much of a dunderhead he is, can't mistake this for something else. What follows is a very cinematic presentation of Goku ducking and weaving his way through Moro's rock arms, and I think, once again, this will look amazing once it's animated. Especially that whole bit where he basically just tears through Moro's rocky arms like they were Play-Doh. Now he's about to hit the crystal, but those arms, they're not arms. They're now just, tentacles. Grabbing Goku all over, and I mean all over. Toyotaro, what was on your mind when you came up with this? Vegeta and Goku are now struggling, but then Jaco decides it's time to go and do errands. But don't worry, this isn't a trick or a means of cowardice or anything. He's got a plan, and I think you're going to like it. The gang then arrive and ask Vegeta whether his new technique can be used in reverse, much like a stuffed crust pizza. And yet it can, conveniently. And with that, the gang gather energy for the prince, and they then spot more energy with Goten and Trunks showing up for one panel in a year. But hey, they're there. It's good to see also that they're wearing the uniform of 17. They're actually still helping the island instead of ducking out too early, or Toyotaro didn't forget. In the end though, this action does help of gathering all the energy, does give Goku some strength to get into Super Saiyan, but not enough for Mastered Ultra Instinct. Then we see Jaco's plan in motion, and he goes to seek Majin Buu as Goku is being squeezed again, falling out of Super Saiyan Blue again, with Yamcha asking about maybe they could use the Super Dragon Balls to help. Only to realise that that probably wouldn't be helpful because they might be in danger too if Moro can blast a galaxy into bits. Oh no folks, Yamcha's not going to get a girlfriend when he bites the dust as Moro, well, he's going kind of kooky there. He has merely descended into saying a single word. And if you weren't squeaked by him before, you would be now. I mean, is that his O-face? Suddenly, more energy shows up out of the blue, and nobody has a clue as to whose it is. But we do now. It's Oob! A young kid Oob is giving all of his energy that he didn't even realize that he had, and he's being assisted by the Grand Supreme Kai. Wow. I really can't believe that Toyotaro added this. And sure, we get spoilers and leaks all the time these days about the next chapter, but this right here, this was completely unexpected. And this just goes to show that spoilers do wreck it for all of us. Having complete mystery is perfect. I am in awe of this inclusion. I'll explain more why later, but suffice to say, not all of Buu's powers disappeared with Kid Buu. Oob had it all along. We then see Vegeta performing the not Genki Dama in a very ironic twist, because remember the first time the Genki Dama showed up, it was actually used against him. And it's hurled into Moro's face and it's consumed by Goku, who then gets big. Well, okay, it's not him literally getting big per se, it's more like an astral projection, but it will look good animated. And this is where I believe that Ultimate Battle, the orchestral version with Latin lyrics, will play. I guarantee it. Out from this projection of Goku, similar to what we see in Movie 7, appears the real Goku back in his Mastered Ultra Instinct form, only with slightly less apparent teeth. And this is looking amazing as Moro's mind is slowly tearing apart. Again, he's basically losing his mind as he is slowly starting to get bigger and almost losing all thought. But then, with a total of 6 panels so as to illustrate the impact and a double pager, Goku smashes the crystal, and Whis from afar can sense that the job is done. Finally, the monkey can see sense. Moro goes kablam! And is goodbye, Ram Man. But yet the Earth remains intact. So I guess instead of him exploding, he's more sort of nullified since Miras's powers are now void, I suppose? We then end the chapter with the customary Goku thumbs up. And don't worry, just if you think that Moro's going to pull a MacGuffin, this is usually a good sign that the job is done properly, if we look back to the Buu saga. And so, we end the chapter. All in all, I can reckon that this ending to the Moro saga is okay. I mean, it certainly makes up for the really stupid chapter 65 in regards to Goku's decision making, and here we can see Goku directly admitting that what he did was a bad idea. So for once in Super, he recognises that his actions were not the best and that he actually caused more troubles than prevented. It could have been a whole lot easier if he just didn't give him a dang bean. And no, Goku, don't even give him half a bean. And he'll be just thinking, well, think about it, I sorta have learned my lesson. Quite frankly, Goku admitting this to actually everyone around and the actual reader is what we wanted to see, or for someone else to tell Goku off. I will take him recognising his own mistakes for the moment. Depends on what we get from chapter 67, and that whole little brouhaha between the GP and what he might be telling Whis and Beerus off screen. It's actually really cool to see Beerus and Whis being taken out of the picture through no fault of their own. When it looked like that the cat was basically going to KO Moro on his own, you think, oh great, Beerus is just going to do it. He's always been threatening to do it, but he was about to, and no. It might be actually the first steps to the pair starting to distance themselves from the Dragon Team or removing themselves altogether. And this isn't down to their relationship souring or anything, but because they might actually have to, if they wish to not be stripped of their titles or roles, or even worse, be erased. Again, we need to see what happens in the next chapter as all the loose ends are being tied up. Now, the GP may love Universe 7, he's actually said so in the anime, but how is that really going to translate in terms of forgiveness, if any? Like we tend to do sometimes, we want to tell Toyotaro off for not being original and always harking back to his AF days. We've actually got a proper discussion about this coming up next week, so do look forward to that. But here and now, I want to talk about the things that he's really good at, enhancing what's already in the Dragon Ball lore. And with Oob, in this chapter, superb. Not only does it still tie into the end of Z, basically telling us all that, yes, it is indeed not going to be retconned in its entirety, but it actually buffs up Oob's power and potential, and Goku is actually aware of how special he is instead of it being a basic hunch, despite Oob never meeting him before the tournament. And it's better than a gut feeling, you could say. Now we're seeing Toyotaro enriching existing story beats with brand new powers to keep Oob relevant in this world of God Key to the point that, thanks to Kid Buu, he innately possesses said energy from birth. It also puts another nail in GT's coffin and really emboldens Oob's place in the story going forward, making him more useful than he is actually in GT. Also, it's nice to see Buu / the Grand Supreme Kai acknowledging this reincarnation into human form. They get to meet, and actually the Grand Supreme Kai is guiding him. It's actually really sweet. It is truly a magnificent inclusion, and a sign that this apprentice to Toriyama can bring the goods to the table. So okay, I think the most important thing to discuss is this. Did the Moro arc end well? Or at least the fight bit? Well, yes. Much like with the Tournament of Power ending, everything did end up coming together in a manner which felt satisfying. I will hold my hand up and admit that I was extremely worried after the last chapter that it was just going to be dragged out further and further, Goku was just having a direct win through no other assistance, but this one has actually redeemed that former outing and then some. It's clever, it brings characters in and gives them something to do, including Goten and Trunks, who we haven't seen in over a year, and most importantly, Vegeta got the critical assist, and without him there punching the ground out of frustration using Force Spirit Fission, they wouldn't have won, period. Honestly, ask me this. If Vegeta weren't there, would Goku still have won? No, he wouldn't have. So Vegeta, thank you. My idea of him punching the ground, it still worked out. The Prince was crucial here, and to me, I'd actually consider this not a Goku victory solely, but a dual effort. And sure, it's a little disappointing to see Goku having the finishing blow specifically, but it's at least done in a manner which has other people helping him, and presented a sort of team effort in a very clean and spectacular fashion, I will mind you. I mean, a figurative giant against the Planet Eater? That's cool. I will sit on my overall judgment and present a more formal review with Haverock in the coming days on our podcast, but for now, I will say that this saga is overall good. It just needs revising and tweaking in some ways before it gets to the anime version, if it actually gets adapted. But what do you folks think of Chapter 66? Has this ended in a way which you are pleased to see, or do you think it's just a hastily made patch-up job to make up for the previous outing? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going, and I shall see you next month for Chapter 67 and possibly the end of the Moro saga. Catch you later!